Okay, so I want to talk about something that is something that maybe a lot of people don't understand, they struggle with, and it's something that I definitely want people to get, and it's something that Jesus kind of laid on my heart. So this morning I was reading in Genesis. I was in Genesis 45, and if you don't know, around that time is Joseph's family coming back and seeing, like, okay, this is Joseph and all that kind of stuff. Well, Joseph in I believe it's verse 6, he says that, don't be upset that you didn't do this. You didn't do this to me. God did this to me. And he was speaking about putting him in a place into this power position. And I think it's really kind of imperative and important to remember in times where you kind of are discouraged or things don't look the way you want them to look, that God is putting you in that position to push you to get closer to Him. It's just insane the amount of Christians who will hear a word from God and then they will become doubtful or discouraged about it right afterwards because they want that thing right then and there. And God, what He's trying to do is He's trying to push you closer to Him. Because if you say it, it's done. We've been given that power. We've been given that power. Jesus says that all power under heaven and under earth was given unto me through my name. So we can use His name to speak things into existence. But the thing is there's keys. There's keys that need to happen. There's keys to receiving. There's keys to getting. There's a keys from saying yes, I received that, to yes, like this is in my hands now. And one of those keys is when you ask for it, you got to believe it. You can't just say it, speak it, and then be like, well, I hope that's true. No, you've got to know. You've got to know, like, the type of hope that we have now is not the same kind of hope that's in the Bible. The same kind of hope that's in the Bible is hope is a knowing. Hope goes hand in hand with faith. You have faith that it is, and you hope that it is. And that hope is a knowing. And I think that people don't kind of latch onto that and understand that Jesus is trying to open doors right now for people. But the issue is that whenever He's trying to open those doors, what you think, what you say, and how you act plays up. That was weird. The video just cut out. But I was saying, like, what you say, what you think, what you act, it's part of that opening, that door. You can say things and keep Jesus from opening doors. It's not that you are going. It's not that He's incapable. It's that you're limiting Him. See, that's why I hate whenever people say, well, yeah, I can't do that. Because you're limiting Jesus. You're limiting the creator of everything because you don't think you're able to do that. But that's the thing. It says Christ is in you. Well, if Christ is in you, well, I've got news for you. Christ says that we will do greater things than He did on this earth. He literally walked on water, healed people who were sick, had horrible diseases for the time, blind, deaf. I'm sure there were people that literally had no arms and legs and He prayed and they grew back. Like, I'm sure of that. And He resurrected people. He brought people back from the dead while He was on this earth, and He still does that now to this day. See, the problem with Christianity and today is that whenever they hear Jesus say something and they're like, all right, yes, God, like, I hear you, they just like what He says. It's like liking something on Facebook. It's not really doing anything. Like people that are like, oh, like if you love Jesus. Like, okay, cool. Awesome. Like, that's all it is. That's all it is. Just because you like what He says to you, just because you like the promises that He's promised to you, doesn't mean that they will come to pass just through you liking it. You have to listen to him and discern what he's telling you in this time, because ultimately obedience is what's going to bring you closer to him. And when you become close to him and he's abiding inside of you, he's opening those doors for you. And you start knowing, okay, this is the door that I got to go through. This is the door that he's closed. This is the relationship that he's ended for me. This is this is why he's done this. This is why this has happened. You know what I mean? Like there will be a coming to pass of the promises of Jesus in this season, in this time, and that is now. The time is now, and now meaning this month of July. We're halfway through it. People are still probably waiting. Some of you are probably still waiting on what's to come, and Jesus is like, no, I've got it for you. I've got it for you. My wife and I watched a video this morning that said, say it. And Jesus said the same thing to me. Say it, because ultimately, and I'll go back to this in Genesis, whenever Joseph led his family, and he was saying, like, God did this. God put me in this position to be able to take care of you. What happened was later on in that chapter and in further chapters, the Pharaoh literally said, give them the best land that I have. Give them the best land that I have. Because I want them to be able to survive. I want them to reap the best of the fruits. Because Joseph had found favor with Pharaoh, and because Joseph had found favor and was put into second in command to the most powerful person in that area, and that was a flourishing land that did the right thing and listened to God, he was able to provide for people for 7 years of famine. And Jesus told me while I'm reading this story, is like, you are coming out of your famine. You're coming out of this season of dry, out of the season of you've just been sowing and waiting for the rain. It's coming. The rain is coming. But it's time for you to stop acting like, it's such a burden to plant the seed, to stop acting like it's such a burden to plow the field. Because here's the thing, you can either go out, like the parable says, go out and prepare the field, and so that way when the rain comes, you will grow, or when the rain comes, you'll be caught with your pants down, you won't have any seed planted, you won't have the field plow, and you'll miss the rain. And then you'll have to try to go out and try to, in the middle of the rain, try to plant some seeds to get something. No, the time is now to plant your seeds. The time is now, because right now, I don't know if anyone else is hearing this, but it's an activation season. It's a season of quickening. Things that you say are happening. They're happening. You are saying and you are believing, and when you say it, believe it. When a promise of Jesus was given to you, say it. Activate it on this planet. Activate it in this realm. Because ultimately, Jesus has it in heaven for you. It's a finished work. You just need to say it to activate it in this realm right now. And I think that it's so important for people to understand that he is putting you in a position where you have to trust him. A lot of people right now don't have jobs. A lot of people right now know that unemployment, that big unemployment stuff is coming to an end. A lot of people right now are worried about their livelihood, about how am I going to make this work? Some people right now listening may have just had a baby, and they're like, what am I doing? Like, I don't have a job, and I just had a kid. I don't have a job, and I just had a kid. And they heard Jesus say, I'm going to provide for you. And maybe he was specific, maybe he wasn't. He's been very specific with my wife and I, and we are believing for that. We've been believing for that for 3 years now, and we're going to continue to do so. And in this season now, he said, this is the season for you to have it and to hold it in your hands. This is the season that whenever you look out into the field and all the things that you have sown, you will see a plentiful harvest, one that you can use to bless other people, because there are people who missed out, but he doesn't want any of his people to miss out right now. He doesn't want any of his people to miss out. If you missed out on this rain, he doesn't want you to miss out. But what I'm telling you is, you have to still try to be prepared, because even if the rain is coming tomorrow, if you prepare today, you will still be more prepared than if you hadn't. Even if, and I'm trying to formulate the words here, because sometimes he says things and they kind of get stuck in your throat. I don't know if anyone's experienced this, but in this season, he doesn't want his children to miss out on this rain. But he is telling people And there are people that will miss out on this rain. But he doesn't want that. If that makes sense. He doesn't want you to miss out, but there are people that will. But he's making it so that the harvest will be so plentiful for those that don't, that even those that missed out, even those that were supposed to hit this rain, even those that started late, that freaked out and started planting their seed late, whatever, they'll still get something. They'll still harvest something, and it won't be, it won't be like I missed it altogether, because he doesn't want his people to miss anything anymore. You got to stop going through the motions. Stop going through the motions of Christianity. Stop going through the motions of, oh, thank you, Jesus. I pray over this food, and then pray before you go to bed, and pray when you wake up in the morning, and then you have your little 30 minutes. Stop going through the motions, because has he ever gone through the motions with you? Seriously, think about some of the things that he's delivered you from. He may have fired you, allowed you to be fired from a job. He didn't fire you, but he may have allowed you to be fired from a job because there was someone there that meant to seek harm to you. He may have ended a relationship because that person wasn't good for you, or that person wasn't ready for you in that time. He may have held you back from getting married because he knew that the marriage that you were planning on with this person was not going to work, and you needed to mature. He may have stopped you from going on that missions trip because there was someone who needed your help then in the town you are in now. He may have held you in the place that you are now because you need to seek him desperately. We need to stop acting like we have it all together and start going, Jesus, I don't have it all together. I don't have any of this together. I don't know what to do. I can't do this without you. You need, honestly, if you haven't said that, if you haven't gotten down on your knees and said, I can't do this without you, then what are you doing? You can't. You cannot do what he has told you to do without him. You can't. You can live a pretty okay life if you do everything the world says and all this kind of stuff. Like, mostly okay. A lot of us could probably go to college and get an education and work a job, whatever. But for those of you who are called to ministry and you keep running from it, the way that I have in my life, and those of you who are called to help other people with the blessings that you've been given, and those of you who he's calling out and he's saying, do this, do this, do this, there has to come a time where you realize you can't do it without him. And you're crazy to think you can. You're honestly insane if you think you can do anything, any of this without him. Because he needs you to be obedient and to understand that he's putting you in this position because that's where he wants you to be. He's putting you in this position so that you can further other people, so you can help other people. He's not blessing you so that you can live this perfect little cute little life out in paradise or wherever you want to freaking live with a beautiful home and a fenced-in picket backyard and you can go on vacation every year and all that. He's blessing you to put you in a position that makes you uncomfortable. He's blessing you to say, yes, you can have all that. I want you to have all that, but I'm going to tell you to give money to people. I'm going to tell you that person that you didn't like very much, you got to give $30,000 to. I'm just throwing numbers out here. I'm just speaking what he's telling me. He's blessing you so that you can bless other people. That's exactly what he did to Joseph. And Joseph recognized that, and through him recognizing that God put me in this position. Yes, I went through the hardships. I went through all these horrible hardships. And these other people, my family and all this, they didn't have to go through what I went through. They didn't have to feel crazy and become a slave and die to myself every single day to get the blessing that I received. Because I'm giving it to them freely. Because I'm putting them in a position so they can prosper as well. Because I love and care about them. And because God has worked on my heart to be compassionate enough for them. Joseph recognized that it wasn't the doing of his brothers that put him in that position, but of God. Because God said, here it is. I'm putting you in this position so that you can grow closer to me, so that you can continually grow in me, and you will be blessed because of that. It doesn't matter if you started last week, today, tomorrow. It doesn't matter when you start. It doesn't matter if you're watching this video 5 years from now and you're starting your journey now. He's going to bless you. He's going to bless you. Now, I will say this video is for July 2020. So if you're watching it 5 years from now, it may have something that speaks to you, but there are some things that won't. Just because this is for July, this is for the present day. July 16th, 2020 is when I'm making this video. And I'm serious. I'm prophesying this. In a week, you will see a turnaround in your life that you had not expected. In a week, you will see a turnaround in your spiritual life, in your financial life, in your marriage life. Whatever it is you're struggling with, you're going to see a massive turnaround, a shift towards His glory, because everything we're meant to do on this earth is for His glory. You're going to see such a massive shift that the only thing you can do is point to Jesus. People say, man, what happened? Like, how did you get all this money? How did your marriage fix overnight? How did all of these things? Jesus is going to work on your heart. And it wasn't, it'll look overnight to those people, right? To Joseph's brothers, it looked like, man, this happened over a course, overnight. Like, Joseph got this awesome position, and now overnight, he's changing our lives. But Joseph, he put in the work for it. He trusted Jesus at every single step to guide him every single day. Every single day. He didn't, I'm gonna just kind of whatever. I'm gonna scrub these floors a little bit less today. No, he impressed the Pharaoh, and he impressed the people through his hard work and his dedication and his knowledge and his understanding and his obedience to Jesus. And I think that's where a lot of people miss out, is obedience. What is he telling you in this moment? Is he telling you to leave your job? Is he telling you to let that person walk out of your life? Is he telling you to pack your bags and move? Is he pushing you out? Because honestly, if he's telling you those things, you got to do it. You got to go. You got to move. You got to do what you got to do. Listen to what he's telling you, because ultimately what he's telling you is what's supposed to happen. He's putting you in a position where you have to trust him. You're either going to trust him wholeheartedly, or you're going to live a mediocre life. And I'm going to kind of leave it there, is you're going to trust him wholeheartedly, or you're going to live a mediocre life. And there is no alternative to that. Before I go, I just want to say, like, obviously, if this message spoke to you, awesome. I'm glad it did. If it didn't, that's fine as well. But you will see within a week a massive shift, a massive turnaround. The things that you were worrying about today, the things you were worrying about yesterday, those things won't worry you. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope this touched you. I hope God spoke to you, and Jesus really put some things on your heart. Love you guys. Have a good one.